If you've ever been on the verge of a breakthrough, like everything was finally coming together, and then you did something stupid to mess it all up, and now you're sitting there like, why the hell did I just do that? Then what I'm about to tell you is going to make you realize that self-sabotage isn't a character flaw, but it's actually your nervous system trying to save your life. And every self-help guru telling you to just push through it is actually making the problem worse by basically telling you to fight your own survival instincts. And don't get me wrong, I used to be the king of self-sabotage. I'm talking about getting into the final interview of a job that I really wanted, and then I would show up 10 minutes late because I couldn't find parking in a city where I had lived for 5 years. Or I would start a business that actually started to work, and then I just stopped. Like literally just stopped mid-success because apparently I wasn't wired for good things happening. I would get into one of the best relationships of my life, and then I would pick fights over stupid stuff, or I would let my insecurities get in the way. So the worst part about all this is that I knew I was doing it. Like I'd be in the middle of a self-sabotaging moment, and in my head is going on like, dude, what the heck are you doing right now? This is exactly what you wanted. But I couldn't stop it. It was like watching myself destroy everything that I work for in slow motion, like in real time. And I know you may have felt instances where you knew you were self-sabotaging, but you couldn't stop. And my friends thought I was crazy. Even my family was like, you have so much potential. Why do you keep getting in your own way? And honestly, I started to think maybe I was just broken. Like maybe I was one of those people who was destined to almost make it, but never quite get there. You've heard of those people. Like I had some kind of allergy that made me break out in self-destructive behavior. That's what it felt like. But then I discovered something that completely changed how I understood myself. And its self-sabotage wasn't me being weak or stupid, or it wasn't even self-destructive, but it was my nervous system literally trying to protect me by keeping me in familiar patterns. So my body was treating success like a threat because it was unfamiliar. And I was doing everything I could, and it was doing everything it could to drag me back into what felt safe, even if what felt safe was actually limiting me. So if this sounds like it resonates with you, then today I'm going to show you exactly why you self-sabotage, how to recognize your specific patterns, and more importantly, how to rewire your nervous system so it starts supporting your success instead of sabotaging it like your jealous ex. Because here's the thing, you are not broken. You're not weak. You don't lack willpower. You just have a nervous system that's trying to keep you safe in all the wrong ways. And once you understand this, you're never going to beat yourself up or self-sabotage ever again. Instead, you'll know exactly how to work with your body instead of against it. And before you think I'm just some guy who figured out self-sabotage by reading a few psychology books or watched some TED Talks, I want to tell you how deep this pattern actually went. Because I was the guy who would start projects with all the motivation in the world, incredible enthusiasm, incredible inspiration. I would work on them for a couple of weeks, get to like 90% completion, and then just abandon them. Like building a bridge, an incomplete bridge. And I would also get invited to these events that could change my career. And then I would find excuses not to go. Oh, I don't have the right outfit. I'm not ready yet. What if I say something stupid? You know, insecurities, these types of behaviors. But the most embarrassing example was when I matched with this amazing woman on Hinge. We had amazing conversations that lasted for like 2 weeks. She was funny, she was smart, she was genuinely interested in me. She even suggested that we meet up for coffee. But instead of just saying, okay, yeah, let's do it, I started overthinking everything. I convinced myself she was way out of my league. That if she met me in real life, she would look at me in person and she would realize that she made a mistake. So I started sabotaging the conversations. What I was doing was I was taking longer to respond. I started giving short answers, basically making myself seem like I was less interested, which was so stupid. Then she would suggest a specific day to meet up, and I came up with like some stupid ass excuse of being busy with work. Then she suggested another day. And after that, she just stopped responding altogether. And I can't blame her. I can't blame her, because I basically trained her to think I wasn't interested, when the truth was I was just scared shitless and I kept thinking to myself that I wasn't good enough for her. The funny thing was that months later, hey, what's up, my friend? Kevin here. Just a quick heads up for all the entrepreneurs and professionals watching this. If you have been feeling stuck, but you know you're capable of more, I've got a few spots open right now for my one-on-one mentorship. In this program, I'll personally guide you through my identity frequency mapping process to break through the patterns holding you back so you can create the results that you've been chasing. Whether that's more income, more freedom to spend time with your loved ones, or finally living the life that you've envisioned for so long. Now, I can only work with a handful of clients at a time to give you my full attention, and spots tend to actually go very quickly. So if you are interested in making the shift now, then please click on the link below this video, book a call, and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Now back to the video. I ran into her at a coffee shop, and she was with a mutual friend, a friend that I knew, okay? And she actually mentioned that she'd been excited to meet me, but she thought I was just playing games or I wasn't serious about dating. Duh. So I basically self-sabotaged my way out of a date because my nervous system decided that rejection was safer than the unknown territory of actually letting someone into my life, seeing the real me, to be willing to be risked of maybe liking me or not liking me. But then that made me realize that this wasn't about just dating or career stuff, but this was a pattern that showed up everywhere. I'd lose weight, then I would binge eat before reaching my goal. I'd save money, then I would impulse buy on something that would literally wipe out 80% of my money. It was like a yo-yo, right? Constantly bouncing between progress and self-destruction, and it's fucking annoying. So I dove deep into understanding why our brains seem to why they are designed to keep us stuck in patterns that don't serve us. And what I discovered changed everything, because self-sabotage isn't a personality flaw or a lack of willpower, but it's your nervous system's security system working exactly as designed to keep you alive by maintaining familiar patterns, even when those patterns are limiting your life. So let me break down exactly how this security system works and why it's been sabotaging your success. Okay? So the first point is going to completely change how you think about self-sabotage. And what we call self-sabotage is actually our body's attempt to keep us safe by maintaining familiar patterns. Now, our nervous system interprets change as threat. That's why change may be uncomfortable, but that in itself is also a belief. So what it does, it creates resistance, procrastination, and self-defeating behaviors to pull you back to what it knows, even if what it knows is limiting you. That is like having a security guard who is always paranoid, and they won't even let you leave your own house. And I discovered this while working on my business one time, and I'd been working on this project for months, and suddenly everything started clicking. I was getting clients, I was making money, people were actually paying me for my expertise. And I was shocked because I barely felt like I knew what I was doing. But then something weird happened. I started procrastinating on my client fulfillment. I'd set up my computer, ready to work. Then suddenly I would not remember, but I would just start reorganizing my emails. Like right now, I felt like that was the urgent thing to do. But what I didn't realize was that my nervous system was freaking out, because to me, success was unfamiliar territory. And to my body, unfamiliar equals dangerous, because I was just so stuck in struggle the whole time. So it was creating every possible distraction to pull me back to the familiar pattern of struggling and not quite making it. So it's like your nervous system is like that friend who always says that they want you to succeed, but then they get weird when you actually start doing better than them. Except this friend lives inside you and controls your behavior. But from an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. Because our ancestors survived by being cautious about change, right? The cave that kept you alive for the past year was safer than exploring new territory, because you might be eaten by a tiger or something dangerous that wants to eat a human. But now, we're using Stone Age survival software to navigate modern life. And it's causing problems because your nervous system can't tell the difference between actual danger and the danger of success, growth, or change. Your nervous system becomes addicted to familiar emotional states, even negative ones like stress, anxiety, and unworthiness. Those are quite addictive chemicals, right? When you try to change, your body craves these familiar chemicals and creates situations that trigger and activate these chemicals to be released in your body. Like being addicted to drama, right? Even when you consciously choose peace, your body might create chaos because that's what feels normal. We just programmed it to be like that. The answer is understanding that self-sabotage isn't you being weak or self-destructive, but it's your security system working overtime to keep you in familiar territory. And once you recognize this, you can now start working with your nervous system instead of against it. Which brings us to the invisible patterns that have been running this show from behind the scenes, okay? And this is going to explain why you can be consciously committed to your goals, but you still find yourself sabotaging them, okay? Now listen up. There is an invisible pattern or an interference pattern running in your subconscious that's creating internal conflict. Because I know you are capable of so much more, but there's something that is unseen that is keeping you from following through on your goals. This unconscious programming, old survival responses that activate whenever you try to step into your potential is what gets triggered. These patterns operate below our conscious awareness, aka from our body, and they are sabotaging our progress even when we are consciously committed. And it's like having a computer virus that you can't see, but it's slowing down your computer, okay? Now, self-sabotage happens when your conscious mind wants to grow, but your unconscious identity is broadcasting limitation. But that's what we've programmed it. That's what we programmed it to be. So we are sending mixed signals to the quantum field. We are wanting success while embodying fear of change, okay? So this internal conflict manifests as self-defeating behaviors that keep us stuck in familiar patterns. Like trying to drive with one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas. You might move a little bit forward, but mostly you're just burning engine. So, let me tell you about my own invisible interference patterns, right? In the early stages of my business, I was trying to build my coaching business, and consciously, I wanted it to succeed, right? So I was doing all the right things, creating content, reaching out to people, building my online presence. However, every time I got close to a breakthrough, I would do something to sabotage it. Maybe there were days where I would just watch YouTube for the whole day instead of working on my business. I would undercharge for my service. I would start to explain why my service was beneficial. I'd procrastinate on important calls, and I would start second guessing myself. Now, during one annoying moment of self-sabotage, I sat down and really examined what was happening in my body when success felt close. And when it was close, I would feel this wave of anxiety, of this sense of, I don't belong here, or people are going to find out like I'm a fraud. And I realized I was carrying this unconscious belief that successful people were somehow different from me, that they were smarter, more deserving, more naturally gifted. So my nervous system was protecting me from the danger of being exposed as someone who didn't belong in that category. So from an energetic perspective, I was broadcasting two different frequencies simultaneously. Because my conscious mind was broadcasting, I want success. But my subconscious identity was broadcasting, I am not the type of person who succeeds. Therefore, the universe was getting mixed signals and responding with mixed signals, mixed results. That is like trying to order at a restaurant while two different people are shouting different orders at the same time. And the waiter is like, what the heck do you want, dude? Or both of you, what do you both want? So when we are in survival mode, our brain is designed to focus on problems and threats rather than possibilities. So self-sabotage often stems from operating in chronic fight or flight, where your nervous system perceives growth as danger. So your body literally thinks that staying small and familiar is safer than expanding into your own potential. But the key is to recognize that these aren't character flaws. They are just nervous system responses that can be rewired once you identify them. And your self-sabotage patterns are actually showing you, okay? They are showing you exactly what your nervous system is trying to protect you from, aka now your limiting belief is right in front of your face. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about how to actually recognize your sabotage patterns, because most of the time we're doing it without even realizing it. Because Self-sabotage is a sneaky bitch. It's fucking sneaky. It disguises itself as rational decisions or unavoidable circumstances. Self-sabotage shows up as procrastination before an important deadline, or just procrastination in general. Picking fights when things are going well in your relationship. Creating chaos when you are in the verge of a breakthrough. Now, these are not character flaws. They are your nervous system's responses that follow predictable patterns. Now, for me, this pattern where I'd get sick, I had this pattern of where I'd get sick right before an important event, like not fake sick, but actual sickness. Because my immune system would literally shut down whenever I had this, either a big presentation or an important meeting. I thought it was just bad luck until I realized my nervous system was creating physical illness to get me out of situations that felt threatening. So my body would rather deal with the flu than the danger of being judged or potentially failing or rejection. So another pattern was what I call productive procrastination. Okay, you got to listen to this. I'd have an important project due and suddenly I'd become obsessed with organizing my entire furniture, cleaning it from like literally everywhere. I would update my website or I would research the perfect productivity system. And I felt like I was being productive, but I was actually avoiding the thing that mattered the most. And so my nervous system was keeping me busy with safe, familiar tasks to avoid the uncertainty of tackling something important. In my relationships, my pattern was picking fights about stupid shit. Like when things were literally going well, I would let my insecurities come up. Like we'd be having an amazing weekend together. Then I would start an argument about squeezing the toothpaste wrong. My God. My nervous system was uncomfortable with the vulnerability of happiness and connection. So it would create conflict to get back to the familiar territory of relationship drama. Now listen to this. We do not have an intuition problem. We know exactly what we need to do. It's the action after the intuitive nudge. And often self-sabotage is about unconscious beliefs about deserving success or happiness. Your nervous system creates obstacles because a part of you doesn't believe you are worthy of what you are trying to create. So this operates as an electromagnetic interference pattern that blocks your manifestations because you are unconsciously trying to attract success while unconsciously broadcasting, I don't deserve this. Damn. And so some people create chaos when life gets too peaceful. That was me. I started to create drama, create problems, or make decisions that would disrupt my stability. And this happens because my nervous system was addicted to familiar chemicals of stress, crisis, adrenaline. And peace felt so dangerous, so foreign, because I was so used to chaos. It's like my body saying, this is too quiet. This is too quiet. Something bad needs to happen right now. Let me create some drama so at least we know what's going on. How insidious is that? Oh, another sneaky pattern is timing, where I would show up late to important events, missing deadlines just by a little bit, or forgetting about opportunities until it's too late to take advantage of them. How many times have we done that? This gives us the perfect excuse of, I would have succeeded, but the timing wasn't right. Your nervous system gets to avoid the risk of actually trying while maintaining the story that you could have succeeded if the circumstances were different. Aligned timing, right? But the key is recognizing your patterns. To recognizing your patterns is paying attention to when self-sabotage shows up. Is it right before a breakthrough? When things are going well? When you're about to step out of your comfort zone, huh? Your sabotage patterns are actually showing you exactly what your nervous system is afraid of or what your limiting beliefs are. And they are the roadmap to your unconscious limitations. So cherish them because they are revealing to you what is actually in the way. But now this brings us to the solution of how to actually rewire these patterns, which is the key to stopping self-sabotage. It's not willpower or discipline, by the way. It's nervous system reprogramming. You need to teach your body that change is easy, it's safe. That's it. Through coherent breathing and somatic awareness and conscious response training, you can rewire your survival response to support your growth instead of sabotaging it. And what this means is you're basically updating your nervous system software from change is dangerous to change is safe. It's easy. And it's just one decision. And I'll never forget the first time I successfully interrupted a self-sabotaging pattern in real time. I was about to have an important negotiation, a high-stakes negotiation, a business call And I felt this familiar anxiety creeping in, the same feeling that led me to find an excuse to postpone or even cancel it. But instead of fighting the feeling or trying to push through it, I did something different. Look how simple this is. I took 5 deep breaths, placed my hand in my heart, and I literally said to my nervous system, look, I know you're trying to protect me from this opportunity, but this opportunity is actually safe and we can handle this. It sounds weird, yeah? It sounds like I'm dating myself, but I started having these conversations with my nervous system like it was a scared child. Because in many ways, that's exactly what it was. It's just my old self. It's operating from old programming that was designed to keep me safe when I was either young and vulnerable. So instead of fighting against the resistance, I started acknowledging it and gently redirecting it. Come on, man. I see that you're scared about this presentation, but we prepared for this, right? You know your stuff. This is an opportunity to share our gifts. It's not a threat to our survival, so it's okay. But you have to do that simultaneously while trying to relax your nervous system. Okay? This technique is what I call nervous system negotiation. So pay attention and write this down, okay? When you feel self-sabotaging patterns starting, pause and do 3 things, okay? First, breathe coherently, big deep breaths, okay? This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and gets you out of fight or flight mode. The key to all this is get as relaxed as possible. Not the breathing itself, but get relaxed, okay? That's number 1. Second, acknowledge the fear without judgment. I notice I'm feeling scared about this opportunity. And that's my nervous system just trying to keep me safe. That's it. Third, provide evidence that the new behavior is actually safe. I've done this before and I lived. This is growth, not danger. Okay? You can relax, nervous system. You see, the deepest transformation happens when you rewire your identity frequency to align with your desired reality. And so, identity frequency mapping clears the unconscious pattern that creates self-sabotage, installing new neural pathways that make success feel safe and familiar. So instead of your nervous system seeing success as threat, it starts seeing success as a natural state, which means you're not fighting against your survival instincts. You are reprogramming them to support your growth. And let me tell you, this is not just mental work. No, this is cellular reprogramming. Your body learns at the deepest level that change is safe, growth is natural, and success is not a threat to your survival. And when this integration happens, self-sabotage patterns simply dissolve because there is no longer any internal conflict. There is now brain and heart coherence. Your conscious desires and unconscious programming are fully aligned. What you want and how you feel. Because once your nervous system is rewired, supporting your growth becomes automatic. You don't have to fight against yourself because your body is no longer creating it. Your survival instincts start working for you instead of against you. So, here's what I want you to understand. Self-sabotage isn't a character flaw or a sign that you are broken, but it's your nervous system's way of trying to keep you safe. And once you understand this, you can work with it instead of against it. And the transformation happens when you stop fighting yourself, or you stop fighting your self-sabotage patterns and start understanding them. They are powerful things. They are information. They are showing us exactly what our nervous system is afraid of, which gives you a roadmap of what needs to be healed. Now, I'm not saying go looking for things to heal about yourself. No, if they come up, that is when you heal them. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a cycle of healing. But this means shifting from why do I keep sabotaging myself to what is my nervous system trying to protect me from self-judgment to self-compassion, from fighting your patterns to rewiring them. How awesome is that? And when I made this shift, everything changed. I stopped showing up late to important events or even just stopped showing up late in life because my nervous system learned that success was safe. I stopped picking fights in my relationships or stopped being insecure because my body learned that love isn't dangerous. I stopped procrastinating on important projects because my nervous system understood that growth is natural. So I want to ask you, if you are ready to stop fighting against your own nervous system and start rewiring it to support your success, if you are tired of sabotaging yourself right when things are going well, then I want to invite you to explore working with me through my identity frequency mapping program. Because this isn't about developing more willpower or discipline. No, it's about clearing the unconscious patterns that create self-sabotage and install new neural pathways that make success feel safe and natural. But keep in mind, this is not surface level changes. These are permanent rewiring at the cellular level that makes self-sabotage impossible because there is no longer any internal conflict. Because here's the thing, and listen carefully. You are not broken. You are not weak, and you do not lack willpower. You just have a nervous system that's been trying to keep you safe in ways that no longer serve you. And once you rewrite it, self-sabotage becomes a thing of the past. So if you are serious about permanent transformation and ready to invest in rewiring your nervous system at the deepest level, then book a call with either me or one of my team members. Link is in the description. But you have to remember, it's time to stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own greatest ally.